And one. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch for a look at your headlines on this Tuesday, October the 12th. I'm Chris Bianchi. We'll start things out with the weather picture, which is a very busy one for us here across the state. Denver will see some showers later on today, but it's the mountains getting pounded with heavy snow right now, especially into the San Juans of southwestern Colorado. Already seen about 8 inches of snow in Telluride. More set to go out that way. Most mountains should get about 4 to 8 inches worth of snowfall. Again, the highest amounts will be in the San Juans in southwestern Colorado, and then maybe a bit of extra snow for our friends in northern Colorado, Steamboat Springs and some of those northern areas. I'll have more of those travel impacts in just a second, but meantime, the story for really the entire state is going to be some very strong winds developing later on this afternoon, and we'll see those from the Palmer Divide on south here into Colorado. High wind warnings and wind advisories in effect throughout a big chunk of the state, so you might want to prepare for those winds in some spots to be in excess of 65 miles an hour out into southern Colorado in particular, but again, the full state will feel the brunt of those stronger winds. Foothills, Palmer Divide here in the Denver metro area will see some of those stronger winds later on today. Denver proper probably not looking at too much in the way of wind, maybe a little bit in the way of breezier conditions in the city proper. As we look forward a bit though, Wednesday and Thursday, we'll see things calm down for your day tomorrow. Highs back into the low 60s, and then a secondary system arrives Thursday night and Friday morning. That could bring a little bit of light snow for us here into Denver, and that would be our first measurable snowfall of the winter season. Now, going back to the mountains, we're looking at some pretty big travel impacts up that way, and once again, it's going to be in particular for southwest Colorado, and yes, there is snow, but also don't overlook those strong winds. Those winds will be whipping about from I-70 on south through the remainder of your day today. So if you are heading up to the mountains, anticipate, especially into southern Colorado, Wolf Creek Pass, Red Cliff Pass, Red Mountain Pass, Monarch Pass, we will be looking at some pretty high impact travel conditions out that way. Now here in Denver, one person is dead and 2 others are injured after a shooting in South Denver earlier this morning. The shooting took place in the 10,000 block of East Girard Avenue early on this Tuesday morning. The shooting was believed to be a domestic violence situation. According to Denver police, investigators have not released any information about the suspect, but all parties are accounted for, once again, according to Denver police. Now, more than 19 years ago, Larimer County says they were one of the first in the state to start a program to help keep kids out of jail. Last week, they expanded that program to include all age groups. 9 News reporter Katie Eastman explains the program and also why others are struggling to follow in its footsteps.
Justice for District Attorney Gordon McLaughlin isn't based on the number of convictions his office gets.
We want to hold folks accountable in ways that are actually going to reduce future harm in our community.
One of those ways began on October 5th, when the 8th Judicial District in Larimer and Jackson counties expanded its diversion program to adults.
Diversion literally means we are diverting someone out of the criminal justice system.
D.A. McLaughlin says his staff looks at the dockets for people charged with misdemeanors, petty offenses, and some low-level felonies to see if they might qualify instead for a 3-month program that could include community service, mental health resources, or substance abuse classes.
In terms of why now, behavioral health issues are skyrocketing too, and that's substance abuse issues, that's mental health issues. And so if we can address those root causes of crime, we're going to be keeping this community safer.
If people successfully complete the diversion program, their criminal case is dismissed and they become eligible to get it sealed.
Our goal is to prosecute cases proportional to the harm that was committed.
While the 8th Judicial District program is county funded, the state funds 12 other diversion programs. During the pandemic, their funding was slashed by 75%. The Colorado Diversion Coordinator says jurisdictions have expressed they can't continue to operate without more money. A budget slashed because of the pandemic, but D.A. McLaughlin says the program can be a solution to a backlogged system also made worse by the pandemic.
Because instead of getting bogged down in the criminal justice system, which can take months and years to resolve a case, on their first appearance, we're identifying those folks and we're saying, go do these 3 things, and if you complete those, we're going to dismiss the case.
Katie Eastman, 9 News.
Meanwhile, Southwest Airlines is still canceling tons of flights due to a staffing shortage. More than 350 Southwest flights canceled on Monday. That's about 10% of the airline's total flights. Now, another 1,400 flights were delayed on Monday. So that means about half of Southwest flights were either delayed or canceled. That said, the airline is insisting that the staffing shortage is not due to the company's vaccine mandate, but Southwest Pilots Union accused the company of a bad response to what it said would have been a minor challenge for other airlines. Southwest also over the weekend saying it was air traffic control shortages and also bad weather, but neither of those seem to really pan out based on the evidence that we have seen. There's going to be a brand new Tattered Cover bookstore next year, and it's going to mark the first one outside of the Denver metro area. Tattered Cover planning on opening a new 8,000 square foot location in downtown Colorado Springs next year, and it'll also include a cafe and a kids zone that'll open at 112 North Tejon Street in Colorado Springs. A new medical facility is opening in Idaho Springs, and it's nearly 10 times bigger than the old medical clinic in the mountain town. Matt Renew has the details.
In downtown Idaho Springs,
I moved here 50 years ago next month, and at that time, the old lumberyard was here, and it was old then.
Clear Creek County Commissioner Randy Wheelock and this community are opening a new health and wellness center.
It's beautiful, and that's what we meant it to be.
Like a Band-Aid, the old medical facility was a temporary fix inside this Victorian house built in the late 1800s. It's only 1,300 square feet, but was seeing more than 3,000 patients a year.
The other facility is very small and overcrowded that we've been running temporarily for the last few years.
But now,
Well, good morning.
Idaho Springs and Clear Creek County have this two-story, 12,000 square foot medical facility that's expected to see 15,000 patients a year.
The economics of scale work out because we're able to operate less expensively by having everything in one building.
With private and public health care,
Public health department is here upstairs. The Centura clinic is downstairs.
offering medical, behavioral, and mental health options, along with a food pantry under one roof.
You know, in a small community, it's difficult to locate so many different types of services, behavioral, mental, physical, as well as both public and private for the different clientele in the community.
All in one facility that Commissioner Wheelock says literally
It had to be first class.
moves this community's health care from the 19th century to the 21st.
That was our goal.
An elk that had a tire around its neck for the last 2 years is finally free of the obstacle. My goodness, poor elk. Colorado Parks and Wildlife tranquilized the bull elk on Saturday and removed the tire. And here's some good news. They said that the elk was in good shape despite having the added 35 pounds of the tire around its neck for 2+ years. The tire was first sighted around that elk back in July of 2019. That's obviously it's a little bit sad, but definitely happy to see that the tires removed from that particular elk. Meantime, and finally, Barry Manilow will bring his very famous Of Very Berry Christmas to Denver in December. Manilow will perform at Denver's Belco Theater on Tuesday, December the 14th, and tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Prices for those tickets will range between $20 and $230. That'll do it for your 9 News headlines on this Tuesday, October the 12th. Thanks for joining us. We'll do these headlines right back here on this Wednesday again. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.